From the beautiful campus of Casper College, it's time to dive into the world of Casper College athletics with another episode of the Casper College Coaches Show. Now here's your host, Phil Kohler.
Welcome fans to the Casper College Coaches Show. I'm your host, Phil Kohler, joined as always by the head coach of the Thunderbirds, Tom Parks. Coach, big week for you guys. You guys get another win, moved to 18-8 overall, 6-2 in conference. But the win this week was a big one because it was over the top-ranked team in the North. You guys were able to knock off Gillette 89-79. Give us a little bit of a rundown of how that went.
Well, it was a fun game. We knew it would be a fun game. Yeah. We knew it would be a high-level game. We knew there'd be a lot of really athletic plays, two like very high-powered offenses. So we knew somebody was going to have to play a little defense, or at least play a little more defense. Yeah. But it was fun, and it was weird because I was walking off the court after the game, and it's pretty normal for people to say congrats and things like that as running off, but it felt different. I'm like, I don't understand it. I knew it was a game we needed to win, but then I got home, my wife's like, well, hey, it's Gillette.
Yeah.
You beat Gillette, exactly right. You know what I mean? And I'm
Casper, Gillette.
Yeah, I'm like, oh yeah, I forget. But I feel like Gillette's rivals with everyone. Yeah. And maybe it's Sheridan, Gillette, Casper, the little triangle, but I don't know. I mean, it was fun, but I've been so far removed from it. I literally was going into it like it's just another game, but I had an employee tell me that you made my year. We beat Gillette, and I I heard, all right, cool. Yeah, no pressure now. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, that Casper Gillette, especially basketball-wise, I mean, really, it starts when kids are 6, 7, 8 years old, and it just kind of runs up. So certainly a big win for you guys, and it felt like an old school Region 9 knockdown, drag out, guys diving on the floor. Yeah. I mean, and for me, it was you guys won in a different way. You guys have gone out and outscored teams. You guys have outshot teams. But this was, I felt like, a situation where you guys out-toughed Gillette. Did you kind of feel that way?
Yeah, and it was nice to see. I thought we got a lot of 50-50 balls. I thought we made a lot of hustle plays. I don't feel like there was any type of agenda offensively or defensively. I just think we've kind of been trying to find other ways to win, and I think it's been good and bad because it's been good because we've been beating teams fairly handily. So we haven't had to play in close games much, but we've talked about it here. It's we get up 20, and I want our guys just to put the foot on the gas and finish the game the right way, and we win by 11 or something. Yeah. You know what I mean? And in the back of my mind, I talk about this with Dion a lot. Just I just want to know if we're in a different type of game. If we're going to be able to lock in and guard for 3 straight possessions and get 3 straight stops and go down on the other end and score and make some things happen and go on a run. And that's what we did. And ironically, it was about the exact opposite game. It was the same game but opposite ends of us being on the winning side as the first Gillette game. They went on a run to start up there. We went on a run. They went on a run to finish the half up there. We went on a run to finish the half here to take the lead by 1. And we went on that last final run. It was crazy how identical the games actually were, just so back and forth. And same thing, I thought they won a lot of those hustle 50-50 balls at their place. And it just shows the importance of those plays. So.
Absolutely. Well, and you talk a little bit about, the importance of those plays. A guy that provides that energy. I'm a huge Shaka Smart fan. I've loved watching his journey through basketball, coaching at Marquette now, and he's a huge believer in EGBs, those energy-giving behaviors. And I even tweeted this out when Dion posted about Josh EJ, 11 points, 8 blocks, and especially at home, those energy-giving behaviors, those 3-point shots are great and the fans get excited about that, but man, when Josh makes a big block or when Josh gets a dunk, those energy-giving behaviors seem to really fuel you guys down the stretch.
Yeah, and it's, they're somewhat demoralizing plays.
Absolutely,
you're the offensive player and you go by somebody and you're nice, and you see the rim, and then all of a sudden, the ball's swatted 7 feet away, and Darius is getting it in on the run. And then Josh, sprints down the floor while the guy on the other end is still upset, that he got a shot block. So,
absolutely.
Yeah, and I think it's funny. Before I came in here, I was literally talking to Abdul, and Abdul's just Josh is the most valuable guy on our team. And I think Abdul has a very high basketball IQ and just sense of how to play the game and the things that are important. And yeah, I mean, I think we all know it. Our whole team knows it. Our coaches know it, and I mean, it's just And we were talking about next year a little bit, and Abdul always asked me about recruiting, and he's like, yeah, we're going to have to replace Josh. And it's like, we'll see what we can do.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
he's just not a guy that comes around every day.
Absolutely. So. Well, and you guys had to battle through some foul trouble. I mean, at some point, did you kind of just look down the bench and be like, hey, anybody who's got less than 3 fouls, go check in? I mean, it was that type of a game.
Yeah, I was making sure that we didn't have anybody on the floor with like 2 at the end of the half. I remember asking a lot of those questions. And that's the other thing, too, is trying to keep Josh out of foul trouble.
Sure.
Like Abdul and I were talking about, well, in the games that we've struggled, like at Dawson, Josh was sick and in foul trouble. You know, at Lamar, Josh was in foul trouble the whole game. Yeah. And there's been, I think, in Central, he was foul trouble. He just changes the game, and the plays he makes are like momentum plays. Like they're plays that either like spark a run or a big piece of the run or keep the run going. And like, I mean, college basketball and basketball in general is a game of runs, you know, and you got to have some kind of, you know, spark to create those things, and Josh is a big creator of those.
Well, and speaking of a run, about 8 minutes left in the first half. You guys are down by 10 points. You call a timeout because you're frustrated with, I don't think selfish was the word that you used, but just not playing team basketball. Right. And it seems like there's times where you guys look phenomenal as a team. The ball is moving, everything's going great, and then there's times where it starts to get a little stagnant. Are you seeing that a little bit, and did you see that a little bit on Thursday?
Yeah, I think I definitely remember. It's hard because in the way we play, I do give our guys a lot of freedom.
Well, and your guys are capable, right?
And they're talented, right?
Yeah,
so it's
absolutely.
I don't think we have a selfish guy on our team. Sure. I think we've seen that. You know, I mean, you talk about Abdul. I might be more impressed with Abdul last game than any other player on our team because he wasn't making many shots. So he's like, let me go and get 9 rebounds. Yeah. And I think he had 7 or 8 assists. Yeah. You know what I mean? Yeah. And it was just like, it was so cool to see that. And I think that shows, like, look, I don't know if he scored in double digits. If he did, it wasn't that much. And it was below his average. And he could have been like, okay, I'm going to go out there and I got to get to my average. I got to do this. Like, we don't have guys like that. But we also have guys like Darius Abdul, Jimma, Nate Sasser. And I'm a poor contributor to it, too, because I'll call plays where I'm like, where I want to get somebody in the right spot to go ISO, you know, because I'm like, this guy can't guard him. And so, but I think as a whole, we have to realize that, like, okay, if we're this talented individually, imagine if we move the ball a couple times. Right. You know how much easier life's going to get. And so that's kind of like the challenge is like Darius and Abdul can combine for 63 points and a bunch of them be unassisted because they're really, really talented. But then, like, every game's different. In the next game, you might need a domino to fall first.
Well, and every time Darius puts the ball up, you think it's going in, right? Yeah. Just because of the way that he shoots it. I certainly can understand that. But it does seem like the no-pass shots or the one-pass shots are certainly diminishing. And it seems like when you guys are moving the basketball, man, you are really tough to guard.
Absolutely.
So moving ahead to this week, you guys Wednesday are traveling up to Powell. You guys get an opportunity to play Northwest up there. A month ago, you guys beat them here 89-74. But that's a month ago. A lot can change. What have you seen from them recently? I mean, a team that's certainly very capable of winning basketball games.
Yeah, I think they're 10-6 at home. They struggle a little bit more on the road, but they definitely seem to win a lot more and have beaten a lot of good teams. You know, they took Gillette to overtime last week or last weekend, and it's just they're a team you can't take for granted. And you know, I think that they're also a team that we have a little bit of history with, and so it's always going to be a little tougher. But I think, you know, to try to keep these guys, like, locked in and motivated, it's like we have 4 games left. Sure. Like, every game could have an impact on how our season plays out. Right. And so we are – I don't know if it matters how much of who we're playing, but the fact that we have 4 games left, you know, and we got to take care of one before the next one. But – I think our guys know how important it is, and finishing strong, and you know, and still trying to make a run at first. You know, we obviously have to have some things, you know, fall with Gillette and whatnot, but you know, we just want to take care of business. People keep asking me how the postseason works, and honestly, like, I don't even know. I just know we have to keep winning basketball games. Like, I know we need to keep winning, and then when regular season's over, like, I'm sure they'll be like, hey, you're playing a week at home, or hey, you're going to Trinidad or Western Nebraska. I know that's really, like, people are probably like, how does this guy not know what's going on? But I just know we have to win.
Yeah.
You
So
know?
I'm going to tell the fans how it works.
Oh, okay.
The number 1 seed in the North gets an automatic bye
Okay.
into the tournament, the Region 9 tournament. The number 2 seed will host the number 7 seed. 3 will host 6, and 4 will host 5. So anybody 2 through 7, if you don't get that number 1 seed overall, then you will host essentially a play-in game if you're in that 2, 3, 4 slot, and you will host the 5, 6, 7. But it's all from the North.
See, that's what I thought. But the women, the women dropped the 7 seed.
I did not know that.
So that's why I'm confused. Because
Okay.
I was the same way as you.
Yeah.
I was like, all right, cool. Like, at least maybe we'll get to play another home game.
Yeah.
And then, like, the women, I guess they dropped the 7 seed. But I don't know. The men and the women have done different things, though.
Yes,
so
absolutely.
Paul's on it. He's figuring stuff out for me. And
maybe we'll have a better answer for you next week
we'll
on
try.
the show,
Yeah.
hopefully. Yeah. So, but regardless, I mean, you guys sit in a game behind Gillette right now, but also just a game in front of Central, and we're going to talk about that a little bit. So, I mean, that sense of urgency it's got to be, it's got to be 4 wins essentially.
Yeah.
So then, last time you guys played them, you turned them over 23 times. Is that going to be a key for you guys again? Is just turning them over and letting that defense lead the offense a little bit?
Yeah, I think it's part of the reason we created the system that we wanted to, because we felt like it was a little bit different than the majority of the league. And it's not. It's like kind of in the middle. I think if we can have more talent, then we can be successful doing it against anybody. I mean, we did it against Gillette, and Gillette has a lot of talent. But I think Northwest is one of those teams, like, they really want to slow the ball down. Yeah. They'll play fast if they have numbers, but they really want to run their offense, which is unlike anybody else to play. I mean, it's some unorthodox stuff. It's I mean, there's one set, and we were literally in practice with the laptop yesterday, making sure that we were right. Like, okay, you go here, you go here, because again, it's like there's a lot of sets I'm like, I just scribble down some notes and we can go out and run it because I've seen it a million times. And with them, it's just some different stuff, and they do it really well. And I think that's where they had success. I mean, they honestly probably should have beat Gillette. There were some things that happened in overtime, but they just like we stay true to our system, like they're going to stay true to theirs.
Yeah.
So
and kind of an old school coach up there. He's been doing it for a long time.
Sure.
But
He's a good coach.
Again, an opportunity for you guys to see something different that come Region 9 tournament play could potentially be something that you see from a team in the South, or even again potentially from Northwest. So great opportunity for you guys. And then obviously moving on to next Saturday, you guys get the big rematch with Riverton and Central. They came here, first game of Region 9 North play, knock you guys off 79-77. Not necessarily a revenge factor, but certainly a big game in the standings. Like I said, you guys a game behind Gillette, but just a game in front of them. If you guys were to lose that game, certainly put you guys in a tie, and then having them having won both of the games, lose the tiebreaker. Yeah, a big game for you guys on Saturday.
Absolutely, yeah, it's definitely a big game. And like we talked about, like whether teams have 3 or 4 games left, like there's a lot of teams that like every game really matters, especially when you start looking at the top 3. But even some of the movement, in the bottom of the standings, and some of the teams that are in 5th, 6th, and 7th. I mean, I think Western is a really good team, and like they're sitting there in Eastern. Outside of Eastern, like Laramie County's getting some wins, Northwest is getting some wins. So it's kind of weird. I think the problem right now for even us before to start the year is like people just kept beating up on each other, especially in the middle of the group. So someone's going to have a really, really tough first round game, just based on maybe how things play out.
Well, and if my understanding of the Region 9 tournament is correct, and you do have those 2nd, 3rd, and 4th seeds hosting, obviously teams are going to really want to be playing for that. And so you got those teams that are sitting in 5th and 6th place that maybe they're not going to win the league, but an opportunity to host a Region 9 game and get a chance to go down to that Region 9 tournament obviously is going to be big for them as well. So first time you guys played Central here, they shot at 57% from 3. Certainly a team that's very capable of knocking down shots. Is that something that you guys have had conversations about?
Not really. I mean, just in the sense that like I've been game planning for Central because when you're scouting teams, you're seeing everybody else. You know what I mean? So the most recent Northwest game is against Central, so it's a good opportunity to see both. I don't know. I think we're gonna try to get some other guys outside of their 2 main guys to score the basketball and do something with it and create. I think they have kind of a 3-headed monster with their big Julian Roberts, and then the Sam Marbury kid and the King Solomon kid that shoot it. Like those 3 guys are really good, and we're going to try to, Julian kind of needs a little bit more stuff like run through them. The other kids can kind of create a little bit more. We're going to try to, take King and Marbury away a lot and just make their life really, really difficult.
Absolutely. Well, and I would ask you for a key, but I have a feeling that I know it's going to be you guys focusing on yourself and doing the things that you that you do your own, right? I mean, is that the key?
Yeah, I think our guys will be pretty motivated to play that game.
I understand.
I think that like Central's a good team, and I think any time someone beats you, you have to give the respect to that team. I think sometimes, and I'm not going to say we beat ourselves the first game, but gosh, there was a lot of mistakes. And they made a lot of mistakes too. It's just they made fewer of them, and they made some shots down the stretch. I think they had 2 huge threes with like under 2 minutes to play. Yeah. I mean, you think about it, they missed those 2 threes. Man, I mean, we're probably winning that game, you know. And again, there were so many other mistakes that add up to it. But I just think in terms of area of focus, like, I think our guys are pretty motivated for that game. Certainly
going to be a big one for you on Saturday in Riverton. Last question for you, Coach, and I know you weren't around here last year to see the schedule. I mean, you guys played Wednesday, Saturday last year. This year it's kind of all over the board, and I know you guys haven't had to deal with like what Gillette did last week with 12 days off, but how do you feel about the way the schedule is planned out for you?
I mean, I'm just kind of a go with the flow kind of human being, you know, but I would say I think the structure also helps. You know, it helps you plan out a week. There's been some weird, like, times when we might have played, like, on a Saturday and then, like, a Tuesday. And, you know, it's hard to take a Sunday off, you know, but you're also, like, as a coach in the season, sometimes Sunday's the only day you get off, right? So I think just to break up the week, both practice and your days off, I think Wednesday, Saturday is nice because, you know, you can – practice Monday, Tuesday, play Wednesday, have something light Thursday, practice Friday, play Saturday, Sunday off, and you just kind of get in a little bit more of a rhythm. Yeah,
absolutely. Well, and you guys certainly get put in a little bit of a disadvantage as well, playing 4 road games to end the season. I mean, and 4 big games, obviously, for you guys, certainly kind of puts you in a tough spot.
Yeah, you know, it does, but I think at the end of the day, like, if we won the North, it's like, okay, cool, and that's not really, like, what we sought out to do. I know that might seem crazy to some people, but it's like we're just trying to play the best basketball we can play. And I think we know that, you know, we could have one more home game, but we know that at least 7 out of our next 8 games, if not 7 out of 7 games, are going to be on the road.
Yeah.
So, like, what better way to prepare than to just go play 4 road games before you go and play on the road to try to, you know, get to the national tournament.
Well, and it kind of brings you back to the start of the season when you guys were on the road every weekend too. Yeah. So, great opportunity to play the best basketball that you guys could play. Wednesday night from Powell at Northwest, and then Saturday, of course, 4 o'clock from Riverton. Coach, best of luck to you this week. Hopefully we're sitting down here next week talking about a couple of wins.
Yeah, I hope so.
Fans, remember, always shoot for the stars, because even if you miss, there's always a chance for an offensive rebound. Thanks for joining us.